Imagine chasing your dream to Hollywood and becoming famous for something you never chose. In 1947, a 22-year-old woman was found in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. At first glance, police thought it was a mannequin. But it wasn't. It was Elizabeth Short. And what happened to her would become one of the most disturbing unsolved murder cases in American history. Tonight, I want to tell you her story. Not the headlines, not the nickname, but how she went from chasing Hollywood dreams to becoming the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth wasn't born into glamour. She grew up in Massachusetts. Her father left when she was young. Money was tight. Life wasn't easy. But movies were magic. She loved the elegance of old Hollywood, the dresses, the premieres, the flashing cameras, and like so many before her, she believed she belonged there. So she moved to Los Angeles, not with a contract nor an agent. Just hopes and dreams fueling her. Hollywood in the 1940s was beautiful, but it could also be cruel. Elizabeth didn't have a stable home. She stayed with friends, sometimes with men she had recently met. Some said she liked attention. Others said she was just trying to survive. She told people she was going to be an actress, and maybe she truly believed that. At some time in early January of 1947, Elizabeth had been staying at a hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She was seen with a man, and with Elizabeth's lifestyle of staying with friends or acquaintances, no one thought anything was off. Elizabeth moved around often. She didn't always tell people where she was going. And unfortunately, that was the last confirmed sighting of her. Days passed, and it was now January 15th. In a quiet morning, a mother walked with her young daughter near a vacant lot, and she noticed something pale in the grass. It looked like a mannequin, but it wasn't. It was Elizabeth. Her body had been severed at the waist, drained of blood, and carefully cleaned. There was no blood at the scene, which meant she had been killed somewhere else, then transported there and posed. Her face had also been cut into a disturbing smile, a wound sometimes referred to as a Glasgow smile. Investigators immediately knew. This was not random violence. This was deliberate. Of course, the news spread fast. The press descended on Los Angeles. Reporters fought for details. Photographers crowded the scene. And soon, she was given a nickname, a name that would outlive her real one. The Black Dahlia. The nickname was inspired by a popular film at the time called The Blue Dahlia. But since Elizabeth had reportedly worn black clothing often, thus the Black Dahlia, the media turned her into a symbol of a tragic Hollywood mystery. The Los Angeles Police Department received hundreds of tips and thus launched one of the largest investigations in its history, with dozens of suspects and more than 60 confessions. However, most of those confessions were fake. Some people just confessed for attention, while others were mentally unstable. But the police followed every lead they could. They interviewed friends, former boyfriends, acquaintances, doctors, writers, actors, anyone who might have crossed paths with her. But the deeper they looked, the more complicated it became. But one chilling detail stood out. Several days after her body was discovered, a package arrived at a newspaper office. Inside were Elizabeth's personal belongings, her birth certificate, her address book, photographs. The items had been cleaned with gasoline, as if someone wanted to remove fingerprints. The sender had cut letters from newspapers and magazines, pasting them together to form a message. It was taunting. Whoever did this wanted attention. They wanted the story to grow. And over the decades, many suspects emerged. And one of the most talked about was a doctor named George Huddle. He was wealthy, well-connected, and intelligent. Years later, even his own son, a former detective, claimed he believed his father was responsible. There were hidden photographs, suspicious recordings. At one point, Hodel allegedly said,
"Suppose I did kill the Black Dahlia. They can't prove it now."
and they never could. There was never enough evidence to charge him. And officially, the case remained unsolved. So what did police believe happened? Investigators theorized that Elizabeth likely met someone she trusted, possibly someone who presented themselves as sophisticated or professional, perhaps someone offering to help with her acting ambitions. They believed she was killed in a private indoor location, possibly by someone with medical training. The precision of the injuries suggested knowledge of anatomy. After the murder, her body was transported during the night, placed carefully in the vacant lot, posed deliberately, almost as if it were meant to be discovered. It wasn't just a killing, it was a statement. As time passed, the case grew colder, the witnesses moved away, memories of Elizabeth faded, and evidence deteriorated. And without modern forensic technology like DNA testing, the trail disappeared, but the mystery never did. Books were written, documentaries were filmed, and there were theories debated. Some believed it was a serial killer, while others believe it was someone powerful who avoided scrutiny. And some think the truth may still be buried in forgotten files or lost forever. What makes this case so haunting is not just the brutality. It's the possibility that someone walked away, blended into society, lived a normal life, while the world searched for answers. Elizabeth Short came to Hollywood chasing fame. Instead, she became part of one of the most infamous unsolved murder cases in American history. And more than 75 years later, no one has ever been officially convicted, which means somewhere, in the shadows of old Hollywood, the truth may still be hiding, waiting. If you like this story, please press the like button. And if you want to know more stories like this, press that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Till next time.